Real quickly before we begin, I want to thank this video's sponsor, CarMarshal.com. CarMarshal.com can save you lots of money on buying used or new vehicles, cars, trucks, school buses. If you want to save money, I'll have a link in the description down below. I know I'm going to...
What's going on, guys? Sean over at Jagger Parasports, and we just had the city of Jacksonville here on site to cite us for our military flags. That's right. We just got a ticket in the city of Jacksonville, military-bound city, for flying military flags. They cited us for every flag because they were mad that we had the flags up top of the building. Not only that, we had customers in store at that time. A lady by the name of Melinda Power that works for the city of Jacksonville Regulatory Compliance Department said to one of our customers in store, because he was questioning on it because he was shot 3 times at war. He says to her in the store, or she says to him in the store, "You did nothing for our country." This is a military vet that was shot in store, says to them, live in our store, that you've done nothing for our country. The city of Jacksonville is citing local businesses with all the other crap going on around town. They're citing us, the business owner, for flying military flags in a military town. They told us to take them down or go to court over it. Are you serious right now? And then has the nerve and audacity to tell our military vet in our store, that's our customer, "You've done nothing for our country." How do you think that went over well? I need everyone to share this video. This is absolutely ludicrous that city officials by the name of Melinda Power and her compliance manager, Charles Sanders, would actually get away with this type of crap that's going on in the city of Jacksonville, and I am furious. There is one thing I'm not going to tolerate, and the one thing is dealing with this kind of disrespect in a military town. If you're in the military, or if you're not, share this video. We need to get this viral because the city of Jacksonville, News4Jax, all these Channel 4 websites, there's enough bad going on in the city that the amount of crap that we're dealing with, these flags that are flying overhead should not be the problem. We should not be getting cited and ticketed for flags for representing our country. But I can tell you one thing. This isn't the end. I'm not going to go to court over this, and I can guarantee that this will go viral. So share with all your local news channels. Let's get this thing viral. But the city of Jacksonville is citing local businesses for flags and military American flags. Are you serious? And then they're going to have the audacity to come into our military vet run store and pretty much say that you've done nothing for our country. How do they get away with this stuff? Please share this video, help us out. If you have any questions, give us a call, 904-693-1663. But please call your local code enforcement and call the mayor. But this is ridiculous. Help us out. There's no reason that we should have to take these down. There's plenty of bad going on that you don't need to be picking on the small guys about a flag. If you guys have any questions, give us a call, 904-693-1663. But this is not the end. So Miss Melinda Power, little old lady that has just angry in life, it's on. You don't sit there and mess with local businesses and tell customers that you've done nothing for our country. Come on, really?
Does the government work for us or do we work for the government? Tonight, what if the Constitution no longer applied? What if the whole purpose of the Constitution was to limit the government? What if Congress's enumerated powers in the Constitution no longer limited Congress, but were actually used as a justification to extend Congress's authority over every realm of human life? What if the president, meant to be an equal to Congress, has instead become a democratically elected, term-limited monarch? What if the president assumed that everything he did was legal just because he's the president? What if he could interrupt your regularly scheduled radio and TV programming for a special message from him? What if he could declare war on his own? What if he could read your emails and your texts without a search warrant? What if he could kill you without warning? What if Supreme Court justices no longer looked to the Constitution to determine the constitutionality of a law, but rather simply to what justices who preceded them thought about it? What if the rights and principles guaranteed in the Constitution have been so distorted in the past 200 years as to be unrecognizable by the founders? What if the 50 states were no longer sovereign entities, equals to each other, and parents of the federal government they voluntarily constituted? What if the states were mere provinces of a totally nationalized and fully centralized government? What if the Constitution was amended stealthily, not by constitutional amendments duly ratified by the states, but by the constant and persistent expansion of the federal government's role in our lives. What if the federal government decided if its own powers were proper and constitutional? What if the Constitution were no longer the supreme law of the land? What if you needed a license from the government to speak, to assemble, or to protest against the government? What if the government didn't like what you planned to say, and so it didn't give you the license? What if the right to keep and bear arms only applied to the government? What if posse comitatus, the federal law that prohibits our military from occupying our streets, were no longer in effect? What if the government considered the military an adequate dispenser of domestic law enforcement? What if cops looked and acted like troops and you couldn't distinguish the military from the police? What if you were not secure in your person, in your papers, and in your property? What if federal agents could write their own search warrants in defiance of the Constitution? What if the government could decide when you were and were not entitled to a jury trial? What if the government could take your property whenever it wanted? What if the government could continue prosecuting you until it got the verdict it wanted? What if the government could force you to testify against yourself simply by labeling you a domestic terrorist? What if the government could torture you until you said what the government wanted to hear? What if people running for president actually supported torture? What if the government tortured your children to get to you? What if government judges and government lawyers intimidated juries into convicting the innocent? What if the government could send you to your death and your innocence meant nothing so long as the government's procedures were followed? What if America's prison population, the largest in the world, was a cruel and unusual way for a country to be free? What if half the prison population never harmed anyone but themselves? What if the people had no rights except those the government chose to let them have? What if the states had no rights except to do as the federal government commanded? What if our elected officials didn't really live among us, but instead all had their hearts and homes in Washington, D.C.? What if the government could strip you of your rights because of where your mother was when you were born? What if the income tax was unconstitutional? What if the states were convinced to give up their representation in Congress? What if the government tried to ban you from using a substance in your body that is older than the government itself? What if voting didn't mean anything anymore because both political parties stand for big government? What if the government could write any law, regulate any behavior, and tax any event? The Constitution be damned. What if the government was the reason we don't have a Constitution anymore? What if you could love your country but hate what the government has done to it? What if sometimes to love your country you had to alter or abolish the government? What if Jefferson was right? What if that government is best which governs least? What if I'm right? What if the government is wrong? What if it is dangerous to be right when the government is wrong? What if it is better to perish fighting for freedom than to live as a slave? What if freedom's greatest hour of danger is now?
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I just wanted you to know that I am using this stuff under fair use, and also remember to like and subscribe this channel. Also too, keep in mind I do not make any money on YouTube. This is 5 hours work a day, you know, fighting for freedom. And you can donate with PayPal and Patreon. I just want you to think about this. If everybody gives to PayPal and Patreon, Patreon is every month. Actually, PayPal you can do every month. I have 12,000 subscribers. If everybody gives, I can quit my regular job and go full-time investigations on Charlotte County and possibly even more and beyond. So just keep that in mind. If everybody helps out, I can go full-time doing this. Thanks.